Hi, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you with us for our live stream. Welcome to Friday. It has been a great week. We've been having fun because I'm a dork. I got a black eye while on vacation last week in the Cayman Islands, and I've been giving everybody an opportunity to guess what happened. Rather than tell you, I said, hey, beautiful Warrior Saints, be creative. See if you can figure it out. You should see some of the things we got. One person said, listen, I'm not making this up, that I got into a fight with a Nigerian drug lord at a gay polka bar in the Cayman Islands. I'm like, I can't make that up. I don't know where that came from. But the answer is no, that's not how it happened. But it is really funny. People have been very clever. Even Greg came up with one that involved puka shells and my wife tackling me. It was like, what the hell's happening in this world? Anyways, if you can guess, we'll give you Understanding the Bible for free. Let me rephrase that without laughing. Understanding the Bible is our flagship series, which basically helps you do what it says. Understanding the Bible. We teach every book, chapter by chapter, in clear and relatable ways, so that you can unlock the mystery of Scripture. At some point, you're like, I don't get it. What's happening? Well, we'll help you say, oh, I got it. Now, you then have to turn and live it, but that's another part of the process. All right, all of that to say, this week, let's leave that beside. Guess, if you can figure it out, it's yours for free. And it doesn't have to be free. You can go get it. It's great. All right, I'm done. Here we go. This week, and for the foreseeable future, we are going to be talking about marriage and family life because it is important and it is really breaking down in the world out there. I mean, we can see it, and I think it leads to a lot of the problems that we have in life is this breakdown of marriage and therefore family life. So we've been exploring in the last 2 days how wives are supposed to function within marriage and how husbands are supposed to function within marriage. And today we're going to talk about doing that together. And the theme, the thesis, the modus operandi, the way that we are supposed to be husbands and wives is in emulation of Jesus Christ, to be crucifixional, sacrificial of self for the sake of other. Most of the time, and this is why I always giggle at feminism, because while it's trying to put women forward, it is arrogance and ego producing. I'm better and I'm great, right? Give me my equality. Well, Scripture's telling you we're not interested in that. You need to be humbled so that you can put yourself before the Lord. Now, likewise, husbands, we are the worst, right? We're just as bad as the ladies are. We're worse because we're always out there. I'm the man. Go get me a sandwich, right? I mean, I know that most of us don't use those exact words, but that's the mentality. Well, that is equally as hubris-filled, egotistical, that needs humbling so that we can submit ourselves to Christ our God. The key, here's the key, beautiful people. We must heed the commandments of God. The problem with doing that is that ego gets in the way, Adam and Eve. And don't say, well, that was them. It's you and it's me. We are Adamic and Evic. We're like Adam and Eve each and every day because we're putting our ego up at the cost of putting God's ego and will below. It needs to be switched. How do we do that? It is that we must emulate Jesus Christ living crucifixionally, right? That's the idea. And Paul's epistle to the Ephesians, particularly chapter 5, where he says, wives, you'll see it on your screen here, wives, submit to your husbands, for the husband is the head of the wife, right? And in the same vein, husbands, you must love your wives, not just in that emotional feeling kind of way, but in the way that Christ loved the church, which was death on a cross. What Paul is saying, to live a good marriage, not good, to have a great marriage, we must both, husband and wife, be crucifixional. Do you understand that? It is the putting to death of self for the sake of other. Now here's the beautiful part. We're doing it together, husbands and wives, at the same time. When we do, marriages are not good. They're great, right? This plays out in the Orthodox Church. Like you can see in this picture right there, this is actually a picture from Greg's wedding with his beautiful bride, Diana. At some point, the high point in the sacrament of marriage in the Orthodox Church, we have the crowning celebration, or the sacrament of crowning. And the crowns are placed upon the heads of the bride and groom, not as crowns of king and queen. I know some say that. There are some theologies that talk about it. Even Greg and I disagree about that kind of stuff. Certainly can be symbolism there, but I see it really as the crown of martyrdom. What the church is telling us when they put those crowns on our heads, you must die for the sake of other. But here's the key thing. They put it on the husband's head and the wife's head, right? What the church is telling us is that both of you must live those crowns of martyrdom, being crucifixional, each and every day in your in your life, in the marriage, right? So that you have not a good, but a great marriage. Do you understand that? I mean, it's a powerful statement. And here's the key. Here's why I think marriages fall apart in the world, particularly in the West, and why some people don't choose not even to get married and just live together or have relationships. And though they're living a marital type of relationship, they're not even contributing to those statistics, right? I think why? Because you're so damn arrogant and selfish and self-focused, right? That's the problem. That's really, I mean, like we talk about it and I whine about it all the time. Burger King, you do you, right? You rule. No, you do you is the casino. We have a local casino. You do you. Burger King is you rule, right? They're advertisements. The Apple iPhone or iMac, like on and on it goes. I mean, you can see that the voice of culture is constantly pounding ego and selfishness and self-focus all over us. And you're drinking the Kool-Aid because you're not willing to think radically, to think differently, to think sacrificially. You just drink that Kool-Aid. Well, when you do that, all of that crap becomes the filter through which you look at the world. Well, it also becomes the filter through which you look at your husband or your wife. And so when you get in that context, what do you mean? They're not here to serve me all the time and do everything I want them to do? No. It's supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to be the death of you, the death of your ego for the sake of that other person. And when he and she both do that, baby, it's great. Do you understand? That's the whole point. This is the fallacy of what the world and the voice of culture has been pushing on us. It's time for us to reclaim it, to take it back, to say, I'm a warrior saint. I'm done with that crap. I'm not interested in it. I'm not going down that road. I'm going to be totally different. Now look, here's the thing. It's so fascinating. You've probably seen it out there that the Orthodox Church in America is growing and lots of young men and so on. And it's a masculine church, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you see these gurus out there, these, internet guys who are talking about like, we're a masculine church. Okay, great. But the truth of the matter is, when done properly, because not all Orthodox priests teach properly, but when done properly, it is countercultural and it is radical and it is completely different. It is completely counterintuitive. And that's why so many people are flocking to the Orthodox faith, because they know that voice of culture is ridiculous. It is silly. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, our parish is exploding. Thanks be to God, not because of me or Greg per se, but because we're preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we're doing it right. And people can say, oh, that's different. That's something new. Not really, but it's radical. It's completely against what the world is teaching, right? And it works. It absolutely works. Even more important, and here I'm going to end and wrap it up, there are people within our community, our local community that we serve, who have marital strife. I mean, like, what church doesn't, especially as one as large as this particular one. And when we meet with the people, I can always tell you, if they're willing to put on those crowns and live crucifixionally, they're going to get through it. And if they're unwilling, they're going to end up in divorce. And I'm correct 99% of the time, right? Like, there are some couples who I know are struggling through things, but they fight, man. They fight hard for one another and they sacrifice. And I have seen some beautiful and tremendous change. And right now, their marriage has gone from bad to good. We're going to try to get it from good to great, right? My point in all of this rambling is to say, it's time to think differently, warrior saints. Don't drink the Kool-Aid of the voice of culture. Don't do it. It doesn't work. It's leading to fractured and divided divided households, all that kind of stuff. Don't do it. Instead, choose to be a warrior saint. Choose to be crucifixional, because it is the only thing that shouldn't, and probably most of the time is confusingly doesn't, and yet the only thing that does actually work. It's the only thing that puts us on the right path, is to live a Christ-like life. At the Warrior Saints Movement, we can help teach you that. That's why we have this. Check it out. But it's really essential. I mean, the whole point of what I want to say is you want to have a great marriage. Good marriage, I'm not even interested. No mediocrity. Let's have a great marriage. To do it, you got to be crucifixional. How do you be crucifixional? You got to walk on the way of the Warrior Saint. We will show you how to do that very thing. All right. We'll be back next week. However, in the interim, between now and then, we will have services on Sunday morning. We'll have Orthros at 9 a.m. and Divine Liturgy at 10 a.m. However, this particular Orthros and Divine Liturgy will be particularly special because our warrior saint, Greg himself, will be ordained as a deacon within the Orthodox Church. It's a pretty exciting moment, really exciting moment. So check it out. Watch us online. We'll live stream it at 9 and 10 as usual, and that's Mountain Standard Time. All right. Love you. Join us for the ordination. We'll see you next week. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.